heard about the 40 days of worship actually before I even heard it from Francis. I watched a video clip that I was told to watch about something that he had spoken of the ark coming to South Africa. The moment I heard that, I knew it was consistent with what God has been speaking to his people in South Africa. I knew that it was something that was going to be tremendously exciting. When I heard about the 40 days of worship, I really got excited, because then I actually met the man that carried the vision of the ark coming to South Africa. And we spent the evening speaking to each other. And it was an evening that ran into the early hours of the morning. But everything came together. And I was really delighted, and I was so excited about this, because I knew that the 40 days of worship that the Lord had shown him, that had to be started here in Cape Town, was going to be a catalyst, an alignment message to the church, to bring the church to that place to be prepared for what God was going to do. The 40 days of worship is consistent with a book that Andre Barth had compiled of 108 years of prophecies that has been spoken concerning a fire that will go from Cape Town. The 40 days of worship is consistent with the prophecies that have been spoken. And because it is consistent with what has been spoken, I believe with all my heart that it is a catalyst to draw the people into a place of worshiping God. The 40 days is not the intention that we will only worship for 40 days. It is actually a way of life, as we well understand. There have been prophecies over Cape Town over the last 108 years concerning a fire that shall go from here into Africa and the nations of the world. When I read in the scripture about worship, I understand worship to be service. Romans 12 and verse 1, where Paul wrote, I beseech you, in the view of God's mercy, to lay your life down as a living sacrifice, this being your reasonable worship. That word worship is interchangeable with the word service. It means my life. All that I do, everywhere that I am, I do unto God. The scripture even tells us, work as if you're working unto God. Everything that I do is unto Him. That is worship. I have been purchased entirely, and I live my life entirely unto Him. So for my own understanding, that is what worship is. It is a worship that is filled with a sacrifice. The sacrifice of who I am. Lay your life down as a living sacrifice. A living sacrifice. Daily living as a sacrifice. So that the worship and the incense and the fragrance of who He is. To worship in spirit and truth is that the Lord Himself gave His Spirit to dwell within us, and Jesus Himself spoke of Himself as the truth. It is who He is. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. So those that worship Him will worship Him in spirit and truth. I cannot do that in my strength or in my own might, but only by the Spirit of God.